Oh, that's so cool. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Well, because I was saying, because it's in the window, I can move it all over in the capture.
The difference is your computer can handle the rendering.
That's a funny. Okay, hang on.
Welcome to Mars.
Wait, no, I want that to go away, though.
Space. The final frontier. I don't know anything outside of that.
From the start to go, boldly go where no man has gone before and stuff. Is that being captured? It isn't. Okay. There's the bar at the top
elbows with green people.
The bar at the top of our window is visible, but it's not being captured, so that's good. You're going to play this one.
Because you've got stuff to talk about.
I do have stuff to talk about, because look at that red thing. And also Mars. What? It's just, I chose the game because it's tangentially related to what I wanted to talk about. But then, so click close, and when you do it, make a boop sound. Oh, you ruined it. Well,
you were in the middle of saying that, so I had closed it already.
Well, then that'll be close enough.
You almost booped it for me.
See, that'll be how I sync it. Hey, there's the title. So it's a game about Mars because...
About surviving Mars, in fact.
Yes, because... Well, should we at least start before I launch in?
We're skipping the tutorials, and we're launching.
Oh, why did you... Well, okay.
You said we're going to fly blind.
Well, I didn't... I figured that the in-game tutorials... Because we tried the out-of-game, in-depth tutorials, which were way too much.
My suspicion is they were probably going to be the same, if not...
I was thinking the in-game tutorial might be slightly truncated so that it would just be here's an arrow pointing to what you're doing.
Over here you do.
Oh, hey! You get to name a city. Difficulty challenge 120. I'd change that. Let's maybe go difficulty 20.
Where is the...
Our colony. Are we forming the first... It's an alternate universe. The Russians got to Mars first.
Soviet Mars.
Wait, hang on. Let me look it up. I want to know what is the Russian word for Mars? Mars, Russia.
This is gonna get flagged.
Mars, Russiaville. Well, you could call it that. It's not gonna get flagged. Why would this get flagged? Mars is operated in Russia for 30 years? That's a company. Okay. It's Mars is in Russia.
Mars, Russiaville is what it is.
Oh, Mars.
But the privilege, it is yours to be in Russiaville.
Well, now I'm at least curious. What is the Russian word for
Mars?
Mission sponsor International Mars Mission. That sounds democratic. It has to be the Soviet space.
The Soviet
right
frontier.
In the future space.
Riding the pure space.
Right in the pure space.
I totally heard that wrong.
You did.
And it gave me so much question as to what you were...
that was your own...
Oh, dear.
Mars in Russia, apparently. I have to specify.
Okay, now I just have terrible visuals.
You're continuing to do this to yourself.
Stalin and Hitler.
Ooh, well, that I believe. The gay mustache game was strong. I'm just saying, the village people would have been all about it. That was the weirdest laugh ever. So it is in fact just Mars, but it's not, instead of in English how we pronounce it with a sort of Z sound, like a Mars.
Make your Mars.
It's just Mars.
Mars.
Russian, Mars, Russia. Mars, are we making a pun off of Mother Russia? Mars or Russia?
Mars or Russia.
Who's our sponsor? Are we sticking with International Mars? Because that sounds too international for us, the Soviets. Well, you've made it go away.
USA is our sponsor.
Blue Sun, China, well, that would make sense. Space Y, that's hilarious. The Church of Russia! Hey, perfect! Difficulty hard.
Sure.
We go
300.
Okay.
Let's begin to squats. We might as well go big or go home.
Well, we're certainly going home then. Who's the rock? No, I don't want rocket scientists. I want
city mayor.
Oligarchs.
How about
oligarchs?
paleontologists?
No, oligarchs. Russian oligarchs going to Mars. That's how it would happen. This is alternate. How do you think this alternate history arose?
But
Did
what is
Russia
actually-
win the Cold War? It's the only option I see.
Or they fled after the Cold War to Mars. Fuel production increased by... Okay,
Bonus
so
tech
why is that
archaeology.
why?
I don't know. Who cares? Click it.
Drones are
Russian
gradually
oligarchs
optimized.
leading missions to Mars. Mars Express? No.
Colony
Hammer and
logo.
sickle. Hammer, sickle. These are all the same. Ooh, I like that one. I like the grabby bot. Ooh, I don't like that one.
This looks like some sort of...
It's some kind of propaganda. I don't like it. I suppose it works. Space communism! It's brilliant!
What?
This game predicted exactly what we were gonna do.
It's sad that people probably...
The Russian oligarch makes space communism in Mars.
Make your home planet proud. Yes, yes.
We terraform one side of Mars to be big middle finger at west. They look through telescope and it is just... Boop you!
Mystery.
Mystery random. Power of the three.
I feel like we need to
Power
lighten it up.
within. The last war.
Beyond
Well,
Earth.
Mars Gate. These are all hard. 350? We're gonna die!
Bill Gates. What?
Bill Gates? What? Wait, what? Oh, these are actual
John F.
quotes.
Kennedy.
Isaac
Mars
Asimov. Well, he
Gate.
was Russian.
Saddest aspect of life right now is that science fiction gathers knowledge.
What is the
that-
Dredgers? That sounds awfully ominous.
That,
Oh,
that
Arthur
sounds-
C. Clarke.
Yeah, but that sounds too. What's that
Oh,
one?
Dredger!
Red. No, I was thinking Red Rising. Do you remember that book?
I have never read it. I have it
See,
still. I
that
haven't read it.
actually pertains to this as
Well,
well.
hey, there you go. Now I've tied you in. You don't have to be left out.
Wow.
Um,
I actually read literature as well.
How? I went to kindergarten. I know how books work. Never fire a laser at a mirror. You know, to be honest, Larry Niven's selling some straight truth. Never click that. He sold me
Spheres.
spheres,
He's spitting spheres.
spitting spheres, but not. Crucially, he's not pointing lasers at mirrors. We might as.
Select game rules.
No, let's just do the random. Heavens above.
Chaos theory. Let's do it.
Tech fields are randomized. No. Okay, we don't want to. We're gonna lose this completely. Overfunded. That's Russian for you.
Where?
Iron colonists. That's also Russian.
Where's
I suppose on the bottom. I suppose overfunded. That's not entirely. There's a small minority of the Russian Soviets that were overfunded, and the rest weren't funded at all. Can't lose health or sanity below.
Da Vinci.
Oh wait, iron colonists. That actually seems like these will make it easier. Wait. Go up. That one makes it 100%.
Ooh.
Down. Wait, further. One of them did. That one. Buildings don't require resources. Well, that feels too cheap.
Reconstruction. That's communism for you. Build it all.
Free construction, and by that I mean your bones will build this building.
These.
We pile corpse until we make nice nut.
What is it? These cages weren't built till after we got here.
Oh, well, now that
Actually, you wouldn't need everybody. About 6 would do.
now that we've
Oh,
offended
dear.
all the Russians,
If you're Russian, we're
your
sorry.
country has some
This is your future.
fascinating history, but you're also easy to tease. So forgive us for
Oh, it
the
lowered it to
low-hanging
100.
fruit.
See?
That's what I said. I know, but it just feels cheap.
Well, so are the Russians.
I'm trying to build some. I'm trying to build.
I'm
a
teasing.
I'm extending an olive branch, and you're
I
setting it
just
on
lopped it
fire.
off. Sorry. Olive
You're
branch
sticking
re-extended.
olive branch re-extended. This time, a dove impaled in the middle.
With maybe a ribbon around the spot that it was broken. to keep it together.
Okay, that's just hilarious. Why is it red? Did the game just know? Visota. Vusota? The question is, are they using actual Latin alphabet or Cyrillic? Because those would be different letters depending on which.
That's a good point.
An excellent point. I don't know the answers. I also don't know how long we've been doing this, so I'm going to start my topic. Get us onto Mars, comrade.
Select a landing
Comrade oligarch.
spot.
I don't know.
Okay.
I fancy the big dark patch, but maybe that's just me.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Then don't. Did you freeze the game?
No,
Oh.
I'm trying to.
Is it glitching when you do this, or is it just?
Trying to actually like rotate the. Oh,
That's how it works. I assume they want us to click on an actual marked site because we could probably just pick the boons.
Well, how about
if we
this?
wanted.
You'll have a little bit of dark meat, a little bit of white.
Little bit of darkness in my life. Little bit. I don't know how the rest of that song goes.
See, I automatically think of Bill Clinton when you start singing that. A little bit of Monica. I don't know.
Oh, is that how it actually goes?
No, it doesn't. I don't know.
It's something like that, though.
It's something similar, yes.
Well, now it makes a whole lot more sense. Okay, so hang on. There's actual threats. There's not many threats here and lots of resources. Let's go with Elysium Alpha. The Martian Chronicles.
I don't know how
is a book. Are you
in.
familiar with it? I mean, we've discussed it only in passing before. Start, I think, is how you start. That does tend to be how you start them. It's pretty, this game, I'll say that much. So far, at least. Well, actually, this concept art is pretty. The actual game itself is a little bit more CG-ified. Cel-shaded.
Cel-shade, I think, is a better...
I still think that's just...
Yeah, this is certainly cel-shade.
Russian oligarch. This is just hilarious. But The Martian Chronicles is a book I read recently because I saw it at a half price, and it's actually a really cool... The half price that I've been going to lately has a fun little section of like really old like magazine store paperbacks that they sell in specialized sleeves because they're all like 50 years old and the pages are super yellow and they smell like old book. And it's fun. So that's why I bought it, because of the reputation of it, and I was like, this is a really cool sort of old school looking... This is probably how a kid in the 50s would have bought it. But I don't like it that much as a book.
Oh, really?
Yes, and now I feel the need to vent, and I'm going to colonize Mars in frustration. That rocket is like... That's more than fire engine
let's
red.
Go ahead and do that.
What do you...
I like that
Here it
spot right
comes. Doo-doo-doo.
there. It's like got a little bit of a...
And begin the squats. Just, I'm gonna. I'll edit that and I'll
go up and down,
forwards and rewind. But yeah, here's the thing. I guess I'll start with this because I imagine this is context free, and I think you might be able to actually comment. It is apparently, I didn't realize this was a type of thing, but it's called a fix-up novel, which apparently means a book that is stitched together out of a bunch of short stories, and I don't like them. Have you read anything like that?
I have.
Because the other thing I read that was like this that I also didn't like was World War Z.
Huh.
Was like this, where it's a bunch of short stories that obviously are meant to be like, oh, these are different parts of a full story. The only time
that works is if it's a biography or autobiography. Because, case in point, you have... there's a... Bonhoeffer was like that.
Is it short stories or is it...
Well, I mean, I say short stories. It's more like, oh, this happened and this happened.
Well, but
it's linear, but
that's how a person's life happens, though. But this is literally like... It takes place over the course of something like 30 years, and it's from totally random perspectives, and there's really no consistent through line. Ooh.
Okay.
Goodness me. This is a complicated game. We chose this. I suppose we'll go back to the game for a moment. Because when I saw it, it was free on Epic Store, and I was like, hey, this kind of is giving me Frostpunk vibes. And we liked Frostpunk.
It definitely had...
But this is way more complicated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think expansive is a better term for it, because, I mean, it's not even that complicated.
It looks complicated. The only question is, are we going to have the choice of what politics to institute? Because clearly the game thinks we want to be Russian Soviets.
Detecting something readings at this location.
At the RC... Oh, the key thingy on the ground, I imagine?
An RC Explorer.
Go send our little dootlet. Go have him check the thingy. Speed up the game. Speed it up.
It's a thingy!
Speed up! The little drones are wandering aimlessly.
I don't think they're aimless.
Well,
They stopped in a fairly...
Well, but they're not... Well, they're not doing anything we need. Is it doing the thing we need?
The
RC Commander services
for your drones, it can be...
Okay, so the drones follow it around because it acts as like a mobile hub. Okay. That rocket is brilliantly red. What paint do you think they used for that? Because that is like...
lamb's blood.
That would have probably turned sickly brown in the depths of space. It looks all nice and fresh on the ground. Once you get to Mars, it's
speaking of which, it's turning that way now.
It is the blood of honest Russians who make such technology possible. When will the Russians stop thinking we're joking? Because we want to stop before we get to that point. But anyways, that's why we chose this, and that's also why we're going to fumble around, because it's quite... whatever you said, expansive or whatever. But back to the book that wasn't very good. So yeah, I need a consistent thread for a story to really make sense. Because I didn't like World War Z either for exactly the same reason. And actually for similar reasons. Because I found all of the short stories in World War Z to be hit and miss. Some of them were alright, some of them were really dumb, and the characters in them were really stupid. And I found the same thing with this, where it's like, okay, this one was interesting. Well, no, if it's a collection of short stories, like I have a collection of Sherlock Holmes, but they are all separate short stories, and they just happen to be in one book. Like Martian, this was published. That's do we need? Sure. Well, it seems. Hang on, no active research exploration. It seems like we should do what the game.
Select a tech. Okay, what is it saying now? Select a.
We need something for.
To research.
I don't know. Engineering. Sure, engineering. The Russians were good at that. Or robotics. Physics. The social, and the Russians weren't very good at that.
Robotics or physics? Nah,
that's engineering. The Russians, I mean, that's something the Russians have been good at throughout history, is they're rather resourceful people. So I think we did it.
Robotics.
Oh, don't go doing it all. Do we have the resources to just go throwing some money around?
Well, I think... Oh,
they're throwing money around.
Well,
we're Russians. We are the oligarchs, at least. I mean,
then exploration, select a sector to scan.
Well, let's scan the sector. Let's go to the left, because that looks like there's some resources in the ground.
Looks like there's some dark meat over here.
This one's just terrible.
Remove.
It's scanning dirt. I don't know. It's
new features.
Surviving. Yeah, do that.
Mars has been updated.
Is it the game? Ooh,
okay.
I ain't reading this.
So it's got even more expansive.
I'm not
to the
reading
point that now
that.
we have CG.
That dude's shoulders are twice the width of his hips.
Both of these women can sit on his shoulders.
On each side.
Make your own plan, Frau. Yes. Now come up and sit on shoulders.
I give you excellent view of solar system. Anyways, what was I saying? Something about short stories?
Transitioned into an accidental strong bad there for a second.
Russian strong bad. Strong bad.
Strong bad.
Okay, anyways. I was saying something about a book. I don't know that I have anything insightful to say anymore.
Concrete extractors. So
right, yeah, let's build some resource things.
Oh, I can't see the resources because you've done the weird
What have I done?
view. I can't even click on
Well,
them.
just make the window slightly smaller. Do it from the top. Pause the game or something.
I can't.
Yes, you can. Put it escape or something.
Escape
that's
right.
Pause. Yeah, there you go. So then...
It apparently doesn't pause the screen. It doesn't give...
Just do it quickly. Do it. Don't close it. Just do it quickly.
I'm not trying to close it.
Go to the very top. Why on earth would you do it up there?
I can't even...
Do it downwards. It doesn't need to collapse on the sides. It just needs to collapse down. Okay, you don't seem to grasp how windows work. Down.
It doesn't want to.
So that's a problem then.
Well...
hang on now. Click on the... Go back to the recording screen again, because I want to make sure that didn't screw something up.
It probably did.
Well, then I'd like to know about that. The game looks fine. You're not seeing what we're seeing. Well, you can still click those.
Well,
you just have to click the top third of them.
Research, resupply.
So we want stuff.
Oh, that's right.
We want resources is what we want.
I'm gonna push in over here, and we're supposed to be clicking that.
I'm gonna try to find my way back to what I was saying. I was saying because it's like the difference between just a collection of short stories and apparently what is called a fix-up novel is one is acknowledged to be disparate stories that are simply bound together for the sake of efficiency, whereas this and World War Z were clearly meant to be. Make sure you align it right this time. They were clearly meant to be one story, but they're not actually a cohesive plot, and I don't get the reasoning for that. I don't see what that provides you the ability to do. Why are our people not building? Oh, it's paused.
Oh, that's right. I was about to say, what are these?
We got some slack. What are these slacking drones?
We got one guy. Okay,
he's got friends.
He's like coming over here, going, "Whoa, I will build it.
I will build it, Commissar, for the glory of Mas Russiaville, or whatever we're called." Wow, that was for the glory. That was quick.
Building's not working.
Oh, power! Remember that was we did that in the tutorial. Buildings
overview.
No, it was build menu. Yeah, you that, and then power. So yeah, that I just don't think I liked. But then individual parts of it too.
What should we use?
Power. Yeah, that. Well, except you have to build a generator first.
Oh,
don't do what you did the last time. Don't go spraying cables around.
I know, I'm just trying to get...
I swear it's got to be like escape or exit or, yeah.
No, escape Escape.
It was published in the early 50s, I think, so a part of me is struggling with the fact...
Is it a generator that I need first?
We could probably do anything. Solar panels, large solar panels, wind turbines. I mean, generator...
I really feel like...
Just whatever gives us... Whatever's cheap and makes things happen. Yeah, there you go.
This makes the most sense, because...
Yeah, sure.
Nukes and...
I don't think it's nuclear power.
Nuclear... Sure it is.
Why not? Every time. Can't keep a thought
Every time.
to save my life.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm not... You thought it would be easier if I was playing.
Well, I didn't expect the Russian humor to abound. I didn't think the game would have even allowed this.
Well, the game is lending itself.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. You had to click power cables.
Oh, that cable. That's right.
What I was saying was something about this book, and it was going to be insightful. Because it's of a past era, I'm wondering if maybe it's just a matter of... The problem I had is that it's very loose sci-fi. You would probably call it soft... You're still building cables.
I'm not.
There you go. Make it go away. Drone hub, stationary command center.
Stations near...
Right. So the drone hub... So right now the drones are going back to the little rover every time, but now we want to build them a permanent home.
Okay. Do we want to build them closer to the...
low resource. Why do we have low resources? Oh, low storage. Click on that. What does it say?
That's why. Because we haven't built depots. I probably should have built the depots first.
Well, we had to start collecting resources in order to build other resources. Domes, storage. The universal one, I guess, for now, or do we know what are we creating?
I guess it's going to have to be universal right now, and it's going to go over there.
Oh, and they galvanize into action. Anyway,
I'm probably going to need more than just one.
Well, yeah, sure. You're in control of this city, Commissar. I'm just, I don't know, not the Commissar. I'm just a guy. I'm just here.
The guy with, like, a big knife.
Well, I very well may be. When you go mad with power, it's my job to kill you and take over. But, oh, wow, we got a lot of drones.
Okay, so we need to dig deep. Your attention is required. One of your scientists has just reanalyzed and scanned something and found
resource
traces
deposits
that you didn't know existed. The data seems correct, but our equipment wasn't calibrated, and we crapped on something.
Somebody threw up on the console. That other guy spilled vodka everywhere.
Commander profile not okay. Correct. What do you want from me?
These are just a choice. whichever one of these reveals deep water extraction and deep metal or additional resources.
The drilling technology. That's what I would say.
Well, I would. Sure. It's up to you, Herr Commissar. Or hair is. I don't know what the equivalent of hair.
The new deposits.
I listened to a Russian language podcast once, and I absorbed none of it. Because I don't know what the Russian for, like, Mr. or hair, because, like, hair is what I want to say, that's German. I hope that's not getting recorded. But I don't know what the equivalent is in Russian, so just... We're going to stick with hair. Herr Commissar. It's up to you. I want to influence your decisions.
Deep scanning tag reveals deep water.
I'd say we're not going to play this for long enough to do that, so the immediate resource seems like it's better, but that's just me. I just said I wasn't going to influence you, but I did. Well, there you go. Because that's what I'm a Russian oligarch.
Okay. Billionaire playboy philanthropist. Milestone achieved.
I had this all in my head, and now it's not in my head.
Books.
It's gone away.
Let's talk about it. Well, unlike
you're gonna usurp my topic by
unlike Martian,
you've exploited my moment
Martian
of weakness.
Diaries.
It's the Mars Chronicles. The Mars Diaries is the one you always go on about that I've never heard of.
Whatever it is,
the Martian Chronicles.
Martian Chronicles. Unlike the Martian Chronicles, Red Rising is interesting.
I never read it. I have it. It was recommended, and I just haven't done it.
It's good.
I've heard good things about it. The only problem is I have it on a PDF, and I hate reading books that way. It feels
a little angsty to me. It's one of those books where it's like, this is
a problem. Though?
I should have read it when I was in early high school.
Is it true teen angst? Okay,
yes,
well,
it's kind of like,
yeah, it depends.
Select another exploration spot. How about this hole? Go explore that.
Go explore that hole. Is that about Mars? I mean, I assume
low storage. Are you kidding me?
More depots. We carpet surface of Mars in warehouse full of good things.
We primarily concrete.
We are a successful empire. Well, you're just building them out of nowhere. You'd at least want a warehouse complex, wouldn't you? Let's have a storage district. We'll just fling them.
I'm not flinging them.
They're looking pretty flung. Anyway.
Okay.
I don't even know
I cannot see.
Because it is nighttime.
A dang thing.
It's nighttime in
Put
Mars,
it there.
Russia.
I have no idea.
Well, at least you're keeping symmetry.
Well, that hence why I had an actual plan.
A likely story. I don't know anything about what happens in Red Rising, so it's
about like little ants.
So it's Mars related. I think I knew that tangentially, but
you knew that your book was Mars related.
No, the Mars. The other one, the one you just mentioned. Yeah, because I haven't read it yet.
Red Rising. It's so.
I've heard good things about it.
The synopsis is essentially it's very politically.
I knew that much.
It's like kind of a class system, and there's various subdivisions of.
So it's
a little Hunger Gamesy.
I heard that, but I don't know. I've heard also that the Hunger Games books are a whole lot better than the movies make them seem.
That is very true.
That they're actually genuinely sophisticated and not teen angst, despite being about teens. Because it turns out. You can make stories involving teens where the teen angst isn't
angsty.
It's just life
Let's
angst.
build
Let's build some infrastructure. We could probably use that. Let's build some domes. Every city needs domes.
Well, I need the what is it called? The what's her faces? Their commune. They're
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Just the gulag keeps coming up. It's the gulag! Where is the place where the drones come out? No one.
That's actually the title of my own sci-fi novel that'll be coming out next year.
The place where the drones...
So imagine, actually now...
Just picture the movie Alien, but like... It's a drone.
It's a little what, I was about to say stethoscope. Periscope, that's the word.
Like the little eye that comes out of the cave in the
Star Wars.
This has gotten very strange.
Yeah, but we're gonna ride it though. We're gonna ride it like the Fuhrer's face. Oh boy. I'm trying to be sophisticated about this book. Are we talking about this book? We can't possibly be talking about this book.
It's becoming like Antics is Antics 2.
Except we're succeeding.
I suppose. Concrete, where's
the concrete?
Oh, there it is. Drone hub. That's what I want. Let's put a drone hub somewhere.
Right in the Fuhrer's face.
Can I not?
Click on it. Do we not have the stuff to build?
You need prefab parts for the... Okay,
we gotta build... How do we do that?
It's research technology and drone hub robotics. Okay.
Use a resupply rocket to bring... Oh, we gotta send the rocket back home, which means it needs to be full of fuel, which we probably don't have. So...
Send them anyway.
You can't send it while it's empty. So we're gonna have to dig some fuel up.
So, is that...
Is there some politics? I saw something about refuse... exports. Maybe there will be some politics. That'll be interesting. I don't think we'll get to that.
Forbid exports.
Yeah, well, we're going to embargo the Earth. That seems like a good way to die.
I do? I mean,
I don't know. We got to refuel the rocket to buy some parts.
I probably need to look at other resources. So,
maybe. I don't know.
Life support. Production. Let's go.
All right, I'm going to attempt to hold the topic for longer than 5 seconds.
I'm just gonna.
It's not. No, there's too much.
I'm just gonna hover about until I.
Requires a deposit. Well, you got to build it. What are we attempting? What are you mining from this deposit?
It's a depot.
No, it clearly isn't. It's attempting to be.
Oh, but see, I want
metal extractor. You got to build it by metal.
I want metal.
That's some metal, but the concrete's in the way. Wait, go over. That looks like metal on the dark patch. That looks like a deposit. Uh-oh. Sector scan. Oh, that just means okay. Well, that means we have to... Well, is that some metal? Well, we gotta scan... Objects. What about the Black Mountains? Are those metal-y? Well, I think that's further over there. Well, whatever then. I think we might have to scan for some metal first.
Well...
So anyways,
Sophistication.
It's got
Sophistication! No interrupting!
That goal was long gone. I just wanted to say, that a problem I had with it is it was a little too... I think a lot of old sci-fi falls into the trap of letting the science be just the equivalent of magic.
Mm.
And here's an example. Oh yeah, check down there. There looks like there'd be metal in that spot we just scanned.
Which one?
That one. We haven't even been there yet.
New sector to scan.
I mean, we also need to scan something new, but... I just saw a meteor. Scan that.
Where?
Over in that one. No, middle. Down. Over there. Up. A meteor. Something just hit there. There was a little animation. That's probably way too... Oh, never mind. I thought it was too far away to scan, but apparently it's going to work. So, here's an example, and it's such a minor thing, but it was early in the book, and it kind of made me go, oh, this is not the kind of story I thought. Because there's a scene in which, I didn't expect... I thought it was about... I mean, it is about this, but I thought it was more about this. It's about the first, human colonists on Mars, but the beginning of the book actually shows, Martian people living on Mars, who lived there before the humans arrived, which I didn't expect. And at one scene, it's like this Martian man and woman are going out around the town, and literally, this is going to sound really petty, but it just, maybe you'll react the way I did. The woman takes a bottle and opens it, and a bunch of blue mist comes out that gathers around her neck, and then it crystallizes to form a scarf. And your face is the face I had when I was reading it, because I was like, okay, so this is not science. This is just magic. They also sleep on beds made out of fog machines.
See that
dissipate so that they can clear the room.
Sure,
but it's just a cloud.
That one's a little more, but here's my thing about the scarf one. What scientist dedicates their time to that?
Well, exactly.
You know what? We need some sort of fabricated scarf It just evaporates.
You could.
out of nowhere.
I guess you could be like, it's nanotechnology and something.
No,
but
that's a
to me, I'm just like that. Just feels like
nanotech. Period is a trash.
Yeah,
argument.
that just feels like you used the science fiction banner to just go. Wouldn't it be zany if that was possible? And it's like, well, sure, but that sort of threw me off for the rest of the book, to be honest, because it didn't get a whole lot better than that. There was a lot of... I guess maybe I'm just spoiled, because nowadays we have such a understanding of a lot of things, like, other planets, so that, like the other book that obviously comes to mind is The Martian, the one that got a movie with Matt Damon, which was really good.
Are they not related? Martian Diaries and
the Martian Chronicles. The Martian book is a different book, and it's much better. But it's like they're related in that it's people on Mars, I suppose. If you want to go the broadest relation.
Yeah, but that's not what I was meaning.
Yeah,
All drones.
Like that is The Martian is a really hard sci-fi. Like it's actually there's equations in it that he goes through of like how he's doing what he's doing, and I guess. Maybe that just wasn't a thing in the older days, because I think we talked at one point about Songs of Distant Earth, the Arthur C. Clarke book, which is another science fiction from the same era, which I had similar problems with. I just feel like maybe old sci-fi allowed the science to be more mystical, like, woo, isn't this cool?
Yeah.
And whereas to me in a modern audience, I'm expecting the harder sci-fi that's like, this is how it would work scientifically.
We expect it to have...
Why are we looking at the crater? Well, verisimilitude is a good word that came to mind, where it's like, this just doesn't feel realistic.
Right. If it doesn't have a shred of basis that seems like that would happen.
Even if that's not possible, they're explaining how in their world it is.
Right.
Like, I can give you the suspension of disbelief if you tell me this thing is possible because of this technology that we don't have, but they do. I'm like, well, okay. I'll level with you there. What is that?
What is that?
Oil, water, underground water. We're probably going to need that eventually.
Where's the water extractor, then?
Well, I don't know.
Rare
use water, but where's a sponge?
No water.
What fuel, refinery, electronics, polymers?
It looks...
This is production. It's probably in life support or something, I'd imagine, for water. Moisture water extractor. See, I'm smart. Too far from the... Oh, okay, so we have to put a drone unit out there. So we're gonna have to get fuel to send the rocket to build some drone stuff.
What we'll have to do is bring this guy, this stupid...
Well, I suppose we could do that, but then the drones aren't gonna work back at the home base.
Yeah, they are, because they have a drone base
No,
now.
that is the drone base. You didn't build the drone base.
Because I can't yet, because of the
So
resources.
get fuel. We need fuel to fill the rocket to go back home.
I don't have fuel.
Well, find a way to create it. We're talking about water. We can create fuel.
There's water down here.
Rare metals, high chance that this sector contains water. So we need to... Yeah, we know, but we don't have rockets.
Default system standing. You can open the resupply screen.
Oh, we can order a payload from Earth. We don't have to send the rocket we have. We can just order another rocket to come. See, that is what happened earlier.
Where's Valkyrie 1-6? Get your payload ready.
I got no clue, Mr. Krabs. Click on the rocket, see what happens. Oh, I mean, well, okay, that too. I was thinking of the other rocket. The one down there. Passengers Earth can travel back to Earth. Select. What does it do? So that's this rocket. Can we not just add or request another rocket?
It says under resupply.
Well, where's that? That's down at the bottom. Isn't it down on one of those? Build.
Life support. Map overview.
Resupply. There we go. That's how we do it.
Cargo rocket.
Yeah.
Supply pod.
Well, what do we need? Prefab buildings. That's what we need. Is we need some prefab components. Drone hub. Boom. Oh, excellent. $150 million. Just like that. Fuel probably is a good idea, too. I don't know. I'm going to let you...
Let's not worry about this.
I'm going to let you handle this, Commissar. So yeah, maybe it's just an age of sci-fi where they were more like, woo, wouldn't this be fun and wacky and interesting? And maybe that's because we're more cynical these days. We require more proof. I don't know. Maybe it's that. How much money do we have?
Well, we currently are using $6 million. $600 million.
That's rubles. What are they worth?
I just let that go over like a lead balloon. I think you may have just dipped your toe over the line.
That was the too far point. I'm sorry to whoever it may concern.
I'm teasing. Back? Do I just...
Well, I don't know. Or is there a launch button? Launch. Yeah, you said it. Proton 1.
What's the...
wait, $2 billion. $2.150 million.
Yeah.
But that's $600 million. Which one is it? That one says $2 billion.
Where?
There.
I'm not... What compass are you reading, lad?
That is... Because that's still in millions, but it says 2,150 millions. So that would be two... You can't have 1,000 millions. That's a billion.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to let us do it. Let's just blow money. Okay, we're blowing money.
Let's not blow this money out of... We just blew the budget. Well, what else is there?
Anyways, I'm just saying...
dead up to our eyeballs.
I could make another joke. I'm not going to. But all I'm saying is that bothered me. Is I thought it was going to be more because it's a famous. It's considered a seminal work of sci-fi, and I thought I just wanted to enjoy it more than I did.
That's a question.
Well, from the 50s, similar eras.
That's a problem.
But then, like, you go further back, you go to the War of the Worlds. That's 1900 something. That was like 1899, and that I found to be even more believable than this. Probably because it's set on Earth, so I suppose they had at least what.
They're wanting to establish a Redwood Queen. Planetary View, Project Redwood. We're going to pull that Redwood.
I mean, sure,
This area registered off the readings.
I guess we're trying to look for, sure, no problem. Doesn't matter to me.
Send expedition. I feel like all these people... Who's going? Oh, well, I guess they're just drones, so whoever, whatever. So,
oh, wait, no, wait, hang on. Oh, no, then we would have to send a rocket, which we don't have. So I guess we're going to have to not do this. We might be able to do it later, though.
New special... oh, yeah.
Get some water.
New planetary.
I'm out of water.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing, so I don't know why they would separate.
Well, it just means that we need to refuel the rockets we have, so we do need to get fuel systems upline soon. But...
Am I upset?
I was just going to comment on
No, I am not.
The word but.
I do think that it's a fair criticism. I also think that it depends on the writer, because certain writers.
Well, that's also what's sad, because Bradbury is he's like famous in science fiction.
Is he though?
He is. At least he's well respected. So I feel like I feel kind of bad being like I didn't like this.
His main works, and then
it's certainly the work for which he's most famous.
So I feel like music is a good industry that acknowledges the whole one-hit wonder concept, and I feel like books
do. Margaret Atwood, not Margaret Atwood. You don't want to read that, and you'll get all wet.
What?
What's her name? Harper Lee. I have no clue why those two names got confused.
Let's keep them separate.
But Harper Lee only wrote the one book until she was an invalid. And then the other book was forcibly published without her consent. But it's like that happens, or the Gone with the Wind chick is the similar. I forget her name. But same thing. She only ever wrote the one book. So, but Martian...
Have you read the first book? Freaking nailed it!
But, like, I don't know what else he's famous for, but I know that Ray Bradbury is famous and is well regarded. So I just feel a little bad. I wish I'd liked it more. And here's the reason. There's two things. I had two bizarre comparisons I was going to make. Because I say that I'm not a fan of it. It's like, oh, it was too weird in the science and it was too soft of a sci-fi. But, like, as I was reading it, one of the things that came to mind was we talked about the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadith, the Lovecraft book, which is really weird. And in a similar kind of weird, where it's like this world where bizarre stuff just happens and is possible. But I guess because it didn't portray itself as a science fiction, I think it's the science inclusion that bothers me. Because, like, it acknowledged that it was just this weird... It's a little like Alice in Wonderland. It's like, oh, yeah, it's this alternate sort of... Who knows if it's even a real place or a dimension of dream or whatever. I mean, it's called the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadith. That's a spoiler alert to the fact that it isn't the real world. But the point is, it acknowledges that early on, and then I'm able to accept the weird stuff that happens, and it's kind of fascinating.
Right.
And this I wasn't.
See, that's precedent.
But is it just because I expected it? Because I compare them,
do you?
Well, science fiction is the problem.
Because I almost feel like Lovecraft. I mean, he's not science fiction.
He's not science really at all.
That's what I mean. He's very much a. If anything, he's like early.
Well, it's.
Well, call it like horror, maybe.
Well,
like
I wouldn't call it necessarily early. He was his own style of horror, certainly.
But I mean, like almost like.
But like dramatic.
Thriller-ish.
Yes, that's a good word for it. But I mean, weird stuff can happen, and the book is really weird. But I still enjoyed it.
This is problematic.
Because you don't have the prefab stuff, which has to come in the rocket.
Why hasn't it come?
I don't know. It's probably still in space.
We're waiting on our comrades.
Yes, they gotta build another. They gotta kill a bunch of people to paint the rocket red. They're painting the rockets red.
Killing
the rockets red.
I said lambs.
They're upgrading. They're out of lambs. We're painting the rockets red. We're painting the rockets red.
Oh, what do you?
Anyways,
what color is that? Human sacrifice.
Find it at Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams just became a horror movie.
Anyway, speaking of horror, Lovecraft, even if I were to compare them, not thinking of them in different genres, just as bizarre fantasy stories, if you want to call them that, I just feel like Lovecraft, that's really far away, rocket people. Oh, are we exploring? I thought the rocket was landing. It is.
Underground rare metals.
Where's the rocket landing? The rocket showing up, it says 96%.
Meaning it's almost here, or
but where is it landing?
It needs to land right where we're at.
I mean, it should.
Like right over...
It wants to land on the other rocket, though. Well, it's ready. Oh, we get to pick. Unexplored sector. No, it's not. We are in this sector.
That's okay, that works. Rocket malfunction?
You...
jettisoned the payload? No.
Attempt to land. I mean, we just have to take the chance because we need that cargo. Because we don't need the safe landing if there's nothing in the rocket. The stuff we need is in there.
I'm assuming based on the fact that there only drones come out, that there's no pilot, so all we lose is money, and who cares?
Other than the human lives that were taken to paint it. Hey, no chance, no whammies. Yay!
Who needs more sacrifice? No sacrifice. La, 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 la.
I don't want another sacrifice, okay?
Can you guys come and get some resupply? What is supposed to
Can I get my drone parts? I need my stuff. Tell the RC commander to unload it or something. I don't know. Tell your robots to do your bidding, Commissar. Whoop.
Stuff.
Oh, they're swarming. Anyways, it's not that I'm opposed. He just...
Well, but the accomplishing thing...
I don't know. Make it do something else.
Can you...
This is why I'm not playing this one. Now I don't have to bother with making stuff happen. I just get to laugh. Salvage. Destroy... No. Make him do something. We require fuel. That's what we want! Fuel refinery! Prefab or researched. So we had to have these prefab parts. Now we can build fuel and the other one. Drone hub. See, we needed this rocket.
I think let's go ahead and put the fuel one right here.
Sure, do whatever you want. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to leave it near the rockets at least. So the point I'm trying to bring up with this is I'm not opposed to wacky stories. I'm not opposed to things being hard, weird and hard to explain. If it just I said this when we first talked about it several months ago now, that it very much has the kind of logic that a dream has, where obviously it doesn't make sense, but somehow it does as well. Like when you think about it consciously, you realize, no, that's of course ridiculous, but on a sort of subconscious, intuitive level, you're like, oh, I can see how this kind of thing would happen in a dream, because dreams are weird like that. And again, that's all the context it needs to allow for the weird. The no cable, you're going to have to build a cable anyways. So that's not preventing you from building it. So that's my point, is that's just, I guess maybe it was an expectation thing, but even then, I feel like the stuff that happens, it doesn't have an internal logic. At least it doesn't feel like it does. Like, the Kata thing feels like it has an internal logic,
Right.
even though it doesn't it doesn't explain what happens.
Correct.
But it does somehow feel like it belongs in this world. And I just didn't get that from the other thing.
Where's fuel refinery? Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we almost talked about. It's not unlike people that
want
caricature
Remember, we
a
want
particular
fuels
type
first.
of.
Don't waste our prefab on something that isn't
That's
fuels.
what I'm looking for. Fuel refinery. There it is.
Do we have to put it somewhere where it's...
I was planning on putting it in between the
I'm
two
saying, does it need
rockets.
does it
That
need
makes
a...
sense.
All I'm saying is, does it need a resource of some kind first? Can you click it there? Is it going to stop you? Oh, never mind. What were you saying?
I don't think it's unlike what we've said about do I have to bring?
You have to bring power to everything.
Yeah, but
electricity ain't wireless. Tesla's not with us.
Where's the
Power cables are in the power section.
rare metals?
Oh.
This one we're gonna do solar.
No, it just
Keep this
no.
one.
We have a power generator. Just connect it to that. I don't think it needs its own, does it?
We can put it on its own, and now the fuel is literally being fueled by the sun. So there you go.
Superman will be proud. But were you saying something?
I was saying it's not unlike the the notion of when somebody has a particular character, rather than playing the nuance of the character, they just will will caricaturize a particular facet of that character type. Like if you're a bad guy and you make it so horrendously obvious that it's like that there's no intrigue or interest in it. And I feel like it's the same.
This to,
I feel like it's the same in that in science fiction you expect them to have a little bit of nuance in saying here's how this could potentially be possible.
The other thing isn't working either.
That isn't.
Hang on, you gotta exit your laying pipes. That other thing with the arrow on it, that's also not receiving power.
Oh, that actually can come.
So you're saying that's related how?
Because I'm saying it's similar in that with
The solar
science
panels
fiction,
aren't producing power.
You expect what?
Well, because the building still says it doesn't have power. Is it just because it's nighttime?
Could be. That's
Oh, we're low power resource.
okay.
Because it's nighttime. I told you not to bother with solar panels. You're too much of a hippie. You might have. There's probably some kind of like power storage that you could use so that stuff can stay powered at night. Yep. I have the common sense.
Yeah, all of a sudden this thing's.
Oh, that's not. Well, if we're lucky. There it goes. 2%. We could probably. I don't know.
Stupid. What is this producing?
Probably a lot more. It's burning
It's nuclear.
coal. 10.
If opened.
What does open mean?
Open it, you dang fools!
How do you make it open? It's up. Is that one of those? Change priority. Turn on. I think it's on. Let me open it. Does that just mean open? Open sesame. Well, why wasn't that obvious?
Why didn't it start open, guys? That makes 0 sense.
Well,
that is 100% nuclear power.
It's purple.
Yes.
It's receiving the power of purple. You're saying that you expect them to give a bit of nuance, and is that what you mean by that?
I expect that they're not going to just... Because it's science fiction, I think people just go,
but then
we can just go for it.
I know that some people make the argument of like, oh, it's supposed to be escapism, isn't it? And I guess
it's not.
Maybe that's a personal thing. Maybe someone would... I mean, clearly this book... People read it and liked it enough to make it a famous book. So maybe that's just, it's a generational thing. That
Can I salvage this?
Or maybe it's not even just a personal thing. I think you have to click on it. Click on
Large solar
on it.
panel.
You're about to build another one.
I know. I need to build another one first.
Well, I suppose.
This is generates power.
Oh, right, yeah, we have free construction. And we're still failing. We would have been dead by now if it had not been for that.
Switch.
Why on earth are we not just building a bunch of stuff? Yeah.
And let's destroy and salvage this.
You have to, exit or something, make it go away. Then click, and then it should be on the screen that pops up. Yeah. Salvage. I think so. I know that some people make the escapist arguments like, oh, we don't want to demand. Some people just want to have an entertaining story of like, oh, that's wacky and fun, and maybe that's it. But I didn't like it. And it's not because it was wacky and fun. It was that it was wacky and I didn't find it that fun. I'll say there were some elements, because it's a collection of short stories, there were some of them that I was like, oh, this is interesting, but they didn't have anything to do with it being set on Mars. Like, the one that most interests me was this is also another thing it pushes the bounds of the science fiction, but it essentially argues that the Martians were telepathic, but not just telepathic in the ability to read minds. They could, like, project, they could force other people to read their minds, essentially, where, like,
That's like Inception, almost?
No, but I mean, it's not just that they could perceive the minds of other people, but, like, they could also project an outward appearance based on other people's perceptions. So they could influence other people into thinking that they looked a certain way or did something like that. There's a whole plot point about it. But one of the parts that's interesting is this Martian, I think it's a child, you don't ever actually establish it, but it's like a Martian person is in this human city, and all of the people are like projecting on it the personalities that they sort of have. It's a sort of subconscious thing. Like, the main character of that particular story is this old man and his wife who they hear a noise outside in the middle of the night, and he goes to check on it, and he sees what he believes to be his young son who died back on Earth before they left. And so it's like a subconscious projection, but because he's thinking that on a subconscious level, the Martian creature is projecting that, and it's almost as if it couldn't help it, like because that identity is being projected on it by this other person, it manifests that appearance without choice. But the problem is it goes around town and everyone's doing that, so all of these people think that, like, lost loved ones or people who ran away are coming back, and so that was fascinating, and it had nothing to do with it being a story about colonizing Mars. Yeah. It's like, this could have just as easily been like a fae and a medieval town, and it would have been equally as interesting, because what made it interesting had nothing to do with Mars, or it being a Martian. So it's like, some of the stories were like that they were just interesting science fiction, or more accurately, they were just interesting sort of human conundrums.
Sure.
You know, what would it be like if this happened and it didn't have anything to do with the science of it? It was just like, you know, this. Ooh.
But I feel like if you have that, that's what makes the story more interesting than just, here's a bunch of random tech, wouldn't this be cool? That's what it's like, this escapism is like,
I guess that's the point, is even though that was good, nothing tied it into the rest. So I would have probably enjoyed it just as much had it been a short story I found somewhere else.
Right.
And it had nothing to do with that. So that's why, I mean, it wasn't all bad. I just found the large parts of it to be kind of boring. And double feature, because not only did I want to compare it to the Lovecraft thing, immediately after that, I read the third book of the Halo books, which I've been slowly going through since I've been collecting them. And it feels like blasphemy.
What's going on here?
What are you trying to build?
Another one of them... some awesome generators that does great.
Are we? Well, it's free, isn't it?
Yeah, but
it should be free.
Not working.
Well, why is it not? Click. What is it giving you an error?
It's telling me that doesn't have power, which is what I'm trying to.
Well, click. Well, see what happens when you click on it. It takes you to this screen. We'll go to physics. What is it?
Fine, we'll get social.
No, we need physics. Clearly, go to physics. Sensor towers.
We've already set the next one.
But why isn't it letting us build, and why is it opening that research? You need prefab parts? No, we don't. We've never needed prefab parts. Oh, you know what? Did we have prefab parts in the first rocket and we just didn't know it? Did we use all of our prefabricated engine housings or whatever? This is supposed to be free construction. They're just cheating by making prefab parts. It's out of power. Oh, the power station exploded. Air production.
Auction.
By Moxie.
What is what? What's happening? Why is this
I have
thing
no
not
clue.
working?
It's without oxygen, because apparently the building and the drones
Storage
need oxygen.
space is full. Oh, okay.
That makes more sense. Let's just build another one. I feel a little bit blasphemous to say it, because one, as I've been saying, is a seminal work of fiction written by a beloved sci-fi author, and the other is just a tie-in to a sort of semi-modern first-person shooter game. But that one was better.
Which one?
The Halo one was a lot better. And in fact, I was surprised by the one I've recently read. It's the third one, called First Strike. It's the third one in the chronological series, at least. And because the first ones I read, they were kind of like, yeah, they're just very sort of generic action books, and the only reason I bothered with them is because it was additional Halo lore. But this one was actually quite good in terms of, I thought that the characters were more interesting and the plot was actually a lot more dynamic, and like, oh, I'm genuinely kind of excited by this. It's interesting stuff happening.
Is it a full, not like narrative, like novel?
It's a book. It's certainly not short stories. I appreciate that much.
Yeah.
But I felt weird being like, okay, so this one piece of classic sci-fi I didn't like, and then this one piece of what some people could argue is just money grabbing, which I don't think is true.
It's an expanded fan theory.
Well, no,
this makes sense.
It actually, I think, it was published if not by Microsoft, at least Microsoft knew about it and had a hand in it.
Oh,
so like the story that there is written in it is actually canon. It was approved.
Huh.
So, yeah, I just felt.
Well, I mean,
like that was a strange
I've definitely
feeling.
come across. Is it because it's a classic or a seminal work? Because I've definitely come across things that I go, I should like this, but I hate it. Like
that's partially why. I guess it's just because I expected. Why does this thing keeps trying to read what we're saying? It's the Russians. Whoa! We got a meteor strike right by the rocket. You just missed it. That was weird. It came right across the screen. Surprisingly, it didn't do anything. I suppose it's not like you're not going to love everything that's famous, but I guess it's because I've been trying to rectify the hole in my sci-fi sort of knowledge,
which is
I admit to not having. Well, because I've not actually read that much sci-fi, despite the fact that if you asked me, I'd say I liked sci-fi. So I was like, oh, I should actually read some more of it.
This is a question that may be a bit probing, but what
being probed by a Russian on Mars?
What made you first say that you are a person who enjoys sci-fi or likes sci-fi?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that because maybe it's not as true as I thought. I really like the Ender's Game saga. If I had to pick something that really influenced me, it's probably that. Because I really like that, not just as sci-fi, but as like just books I really enjoy.
Right.
So maybe that was where I was like, oh, and this means I must like sci-fi stuff because I like this. And I mean, I like games that are sci-fi. This is technically sci-fi. It's like there's a lot of meteors on Mars, apparently. So I don't know. Maybe I was just the notion. Maybe I didn't really know what sci-fi was, and I was just like, oh, it's stuff I like is called that. But maybe the reason I like it isn't because it's sci-fi. Maybe it's because it does other things. That's still without power.
Why?
Must be connected to water. Why did we put fuel in the water? Or water in the fuel?
I don't understand.
So the
I
power,
think we're close.
The power is still we got a little longer. We're not just going to die. We're going to kill off all of our drones and
you want to
mass rocket explosions. You want to do what?
Suggest something there, pal?
Me?
'Cause I don't exactly know outside of sending a resupply.
Well,
again.
you need water. Get water. Just make water happen.
Oh, I can't. I don't have the option to do another resupply. Supply pod.
Well,
give me some.
First, let's see if we can make water.
Okay, I've already collected water.
Well, then send the water to the fuel. This is not a problem if we just have water in a different spot. We just got to move it. Is that the water? That doesn't have power either.
See, that's the problem because I need prefab.
Why do we need prefab? We got to research that, I think. Do we have a research thing?
We have to.
Well, I'll let you waste the government's money.
Prefab. I need
water making. I don't know.
Under electronics?
Not a clue.
Orbital probe.
Don't ask me nothing. I at least want to. Yeah. So what was I saying? I was trying to talk about Halo, then you asked me another question.
Well, I'm just saying, like, why? What caused you to first say I'm a sci-fi?
I mean, I like the Halo games, which are obviously sci-fi, and I like the books now, and I like other stuff that is sci-fi, but maybe it's not just sci-fi in general. Because I guess, I suppose it's a little like saying I'm a fan of mystery, like crime dramas. It's like, well, that doesn't mean every crime drama is going to be good. Maybe that's just the conception I'm having to realize. Maybe it's because sci-fi is such a broad category that it's not like I like. Because some people will be like, oh, I like horror movies, and maybe they do like most horror movies, but maybe they only like a certain few. Maybe it's not that they like horror movies. Maybe they just like a few movies that deal with horror elements, and maybe that's what I'm at. Maybe it's more that I just like this. Well, the problem is science fiction, because that's the name of the genre, but that's also the best description of what it is. So it's like I'd like to say I like science fiction that is fiction dealing with fictional science. But apparently not all of it is what I like. I don't know.
This is a bit more challenging.
I told you, you contested me calling it complex. Well, you were trying to be charitable.
Oh, okay. What did
Go get water. Make water happen. Send the RC pod to get water. Make water happen. Traveling. Gather the drones. But about the Halo thing, it's just... I wanted to talk about it because I actually was surprised how much I liked it. Because so far, the first ones were very much... They're inoffensive is what I'd call them. Like, they're actually pretty easy reads. They're relatively short. They happen quickly. They're a little bit sort of popcorny is the term I've heard that I think is useful. That's like, they're easy to consume, but they're not very challenging. They don't demand much of you. It's just kind of like, it's a bit of a mindless read. But this last one, I thought I was impressed by, and I wanted to talk about it. And I felt like it was a weird juxtaposition. So, Halo's not bad. Martian Chronicles wasn't very good, and I don't know where I stand with sci-fi.
Well, not just
Here's
sci-fi,
the thing.
but I think that, again, it's like a unknown author may surprise you. It's the classic trope, don't judge a book by its cover.
Or by its author, apparently. But I did want to say this, since we haven't been nearly salty enough in this episode.
Disney sucks. I'm just playing.
Having read this book, the Halo that I actually really did enjoy, it made me even more mad about the Halo TV show. Because now that I'm reading the books, because I remember when I first said, it's like, okay, they didn't base it off of the books, and they didn't base it off the games, so what did they base it off of? And then I'm reading this book like, had they based it off of this book, it would have been a lot better. Oh, what? Oh, so it just dropped stuff. Did you even select what was in this resupply pod?
Yes, but
Is it what we need?
Well, it was certainly anything that I could get my
It was
hands
certainly
on.
Anything and everything.
What's
I don't know,
actually
the drones
here?
are just taking it apart and doing stuff with it.
Got
We have water.
rare meat. Where?
Rare meat!
There's electronic machine parts.
I don't see it, that's what I'm asking
fuel.
about. I don't see water.
Well, therein lies the big issue. Do I have enough now to build the dumb thing so I can actually get a water generator?
I have no clue.
That would be.
We needed
just
prefab parts.
stupendous.
Did you send us prefab parts?
I tried to, but they
Well, then try to
basically
build
were
some.
saying that the prefab is all prefabbed out.
It's all post-fab now. So yeah, that just made me mad because I was like, the story that happens in this one particularly
they're
would
done.
have been a lot more interesting in the show because it's like this stuff. I don't know that I want to spoil it because I would recommend it to someone who's interested in Halo at least. So it just made me all the more mad about that because I'm like, you just made the crappiest cheap buck you wanted. Just throw something out there with a Halo sticker on it and call it Square. When in reality, if you actually cared about it, you could have made something really interesting using this source material. Because one thing that fascinated me, I suppose this will be my final thoughts on it because I don't have much to say, but it actually made me appreciate Halo 4 more, which is really weird. Because Halo 4, I still think, is probably the weaker of the actual games, but...
Really?
Yes, we had this discussion because you're weird and you like it more than the average person.
Yeah, I thought that Halo 4 was great.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's as awful. Some people were like really negative about it, and I'm not. But there are actually plot elements in this book that have implications further down the line into Halo 4 and other games. Because this book is actually essentially a prequel to Halo 2. It takes place between Halo 1 and 2, which I thought was fascinating because it actually sets up the stuff that happens in Halo 2, which made me realize this isn't...
glitch?
No, things are...
Full-on glitch, because this is supposed to be... Is that the...
It was just you built it at night. Hey, we're making water. Send it. We got to send pipes, build pipes to send water back to home.
How do we...
I don't know. Don't ask me. So I guess, because the thing about Halo 4 that sort of threw me was the Cortana going insane arc, because it felt a little out of nowhere. Because they're just like, because AIs deteriorate. And they actually, the way they say it in the game, which I feel is poor, is she basically said, it's like, the AIs deteriorate after 7 years. And it feels really arbitrary. Like, why? Why that amount of time? That's oddly specific. And in the book, they actually outline, like, this is why, and it's not a strict 7 years, it's just the average life expectancy of these AIs is approximately 7 years. So it builds the case. Again, it's the verisimilitude thing. It's like, and it's actually interesting because they do it in a sequence of Cortana's she's essentially fighting for control of a Covenant ship with a Covenant AI. Like, they're attempting to commandeer the ship from it. And in so doing, it's sort of where she has a bit of a weird existential crisis, because it's like she's having to do weird things with her source code in order to be able to circumvent the other AI's protocols, and that she portrays it's like this potentially having an effect on her long-term viability. It's like, so they actually make it seem more reasonable that it isn't just, it's a 7-year time clock. It's just like...
It's certainly not going to let me out of here.
No, you probably just have to build a special kind of thing. No, pipes can go up. Come on.
It won't, though. Uneven terrain.
Well, try to build a different kind of pipe. Maybe we need hefty pipe. So anyways, I just thought that it did a better job of explaining that, which made me realize... Because I thought they had just... Because 343 is the studio that took over for Bungie after they left Halo. And so I admittedly just sort of thought that they made that up because it served the plot. And I was like, well, that feels cheap. But it actually... The fact that it isn't, and it was always part of the lore, and they explain it better in the book, I was like, okay, I can accept this a little more now. And I found it fascinating because I assumed that these were sort of like the Star Wars novels, where they're canon only because they don't interfere with the plots of the established games. Because some of the Star Wars books were like that, where it's like, yes, it's canon because it doesn't interfere with any of the movies. So it might as well be canon because it makes no difference. But they're actually much more integrated, at least this one was, than any of the others, where it actually is setting up stuff that happens in Halo 2. So... that one's good. The Halo books are better than I thought. The show still sucks a lot.
You should give them a try.
And the Martian Chronicles is something. Some people might still like it if they tried it, but I didn't. That was all I wanted to say about that. I wanted to do this. The reason I wanted to do this...
Clearly not going to be able to get water over there unless you want to give this a crack.
I'm not going to. We're just going to let our drones die. But, I just wanted to get this off my chest because I read it, and then I read the other thing, and I wanted to do it while it was still fresh. Which is why I forced you to suffer through your communist... I don't know, what would you call this?
Failures.
Well, there's a penance. That's the word I was looking for. I'm not sure why that's the word I was looking for, but it's not pause, you need to stop.
Let's not pause on penance.
And then